and defend our communities for law-abiding American citizens. Look, the crime is most rampant right here and in African American communities, and more people see me and they say, sir, we want protection. We want police to protect us. We don't want to get robbed and mugged and beat up or killed because we want to walk across the street to buy a loaf of bread. They want it so badly. The fake news doesn't talk about it. But the black population wants law enforcement more than any other population.
Right. So, that was foolishness. However, we're going to analyze all of that, and I am going to show how none of that's actually going to happen. I mean, there's also certainly what he said might very well happen, but the effect that he claims is going to result from that isn't going to happen. And for those of you who already know, you already know. For the vast majority of you, you'll see. So, this is from the official website of the White House, whitehouse.gov. What this imbecile was talking about: strengthening and unleashing. Interesting choice of words. America's law enforcement to pursue criminals and protect innocent citizens. Executive orders, April 28th, 2025. Now, I tried reading through some of this, and my God, if with the way this thing is worded in certain ways, I can only imagine how bad it was. That letter that, who was it, Linda McMahon, the education woman, went and sent to Harvard, and they went and marked that thing up. Just that was hilarious. But I'm going to try to read through all of this and then get to my little analysis, my rather not so little analysis of why it won't work and what should have happened long before any of this. What should have happened in the black community long before any of this even came about. So let's get started. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Oh, by the way, I'm very, very well aware of how ironic all of that is, considering how the Constitution is getting bent over and put on its back and all that shit. And I'm very well aware of the irony, but let's keep going. Section 1. Purpose and policy. Safe communities rely on the backbone and heroism of a tough and well-equipped police force. My administration is steadfastly committed to empowering state and local law enforcement to firmly police dangerous criminal behavior and protect innocent citizens. When local leaders demonize law enforcement and impose legal and political handcuffs that make aggressively enforcing the law impossible, crime thrives, and innocent citizens and small business owners suffer. My administration will therefore establish best practices at the state and local level for cities to unleash, again with that word unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state and local officials, and surge resources to officers in need. My administration will work to ensure that law enforcement officers across America focus on ending crime, not pursuing harmful, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. All right. The result will be a law-abiding society in which tenacious law enforcement officers protect the innocent, violations of law are not tolerated, and American communities are safely enjoyed by all their citizens. I'll get to that later. Section 2. Legal defense for law enforcement officers. The Attorney General shall take all appropriate action to create a mechanism to provide legal resources and indemnification to law enforcement officers who unjustly incur expenses and liabilities for actions taken during the performance of their official duties to enforce the law. This mechanism shall include the use of private sector pro bono assistance for such law enforcement officers. You know, I was going to read through this entire thing and then just give my analysis and show how this is not going to work, but I can't. I'm going to have to throw in my thoughts as I go so that it's not like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Where'd that come from? Then we have to go back. So, first one, purpose and policy, law abiding, illegal race and sex-based equity policies. It even says equity. It didn't even say anything about equality. It said equity. I think we all know the definition of equity here. But equity, in the quotes, policies. Interesting. Take those out, and I wonder how the makeup is gonna look like. Okay. Private sector pro bono assistance. Private sector pro bono assistance. Okay. If you're going to force somebody to work for free, which last time I checked that was slavery, might be wrong. What has 48 laws of power? Law 40, my favorite one. Despise the free lunch. What has worth is worth paying for. It is often also wise to pay the full price. There's no cutting corners with excellence. You best believe if I went through all of law school and I'm out here Johnny Cochran in this bitch, and you're telling me that I have to go and give free legal defense like I'm some common public defender? Like I'm somebody that graduated from DeVry Law instead of Harvard Law or Wharton Law or I don't know, MIT Law, whatever. I guess Harvard Law, right? Right? Like, you have any idea how salty I'm going to be feeling? I got to do that for free. Whereas I could have been making all kinds of mad money, just huge guapa stacks of bank. You're going to trust that defense? Somebody who has to work like a slave, you're going to trust that defense? Are you sure that they aren't going to purposely say fuck it and give the most BS ass defense so much such that you end up losing? Despise the free lunch. I can't. I mean, assuming you even get any lawyers now. I mean, like, hell, if lawyers in mass just up and quit and say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go practice law in another country. I'm going to go do DoorDash. I'm going to go do Uber, whatever. Yeah. 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 Nah. I would not trust that at all. But hey, whatever. Maybe there's something on the back end that makes it worth their while. But just on the face here, from what I'm saying, pro bono work. Yeah, nah. Anyway. Section 3. Empowering state and local law enforcement. A. The Attorney General and other appropriate heads of executive departments and agencies, I guess. I don't know why they need to put that twice. Maybe they're just saying here on fourth agencies. Just why was this twice? Why was agencies twice here? I mean, I'm not making this up. Just in case they happen to edit it later. You see, well, executive departments and agencies. I don't get it. I don't. Harvard needs to come and look through this again. Or look through this like they look through McMahon's letter. Anyway, shall take all appropriate action to maximize the use of federal resources to 1. Provide new best practices to state and local law enforcement to aggressively police communities against all crimes. I wonder if that includes white-collar corporate crimes. 2. Expand access and improve the quality of training available to state and local law enforcement. I wonder what that training includes. You're going to get rid of anything DEI. I think we all know what that means. You're going to get rid of anything equity-based. Okay. So I wonder what that training is. Something tells me it might not be training in de-escalation, training in the constitutional right, that piece of scratch on paper, the constitutional rights of citizens, or really just people in general, in some cases. Something tells me that's not the kind of training they're going to be they're talking about here, but whatever. We'll keep going. 3. Increase pay and benefits for law enforcement officers. Of course. And who pays for that? The taxpayers. Okay. And again, at the end of this, I will show how all of this isn't going to work and how it... Stay with me. 4. Strengthen and expand the legal protection for law enforcement officers. 5. Seek enhanced sentences for crimes against law enforcement officers. 6. Promote investment in the security and capacity of prisons. And that's actually quite interesting considering what I am about to say. At the end of this, promote investment in the security and capacity of prisons. That's very telling. That's very interesting. And 7, increase the investment in and collection. Increase the investment in and collection, distribution, and uniformity of crime data across jurisdictions. Yeah, okay. B, within 60 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General shall review all ongoing federal consent decree out-of-court agreements and post-judgment orders to which a state or local law enforcement agency is party and modify, rescind, or move to conclude such measures that unduly impede the performance of law enforcement functions. Put simply, they're going to go look through all this stuff and essentially just clear them out. That cop went and did a no-knock warrant on the wrong house and messed everything up. Oh well. That cop went and killed your family member. Oh well. Went and arrested a woman and ended up raping her in the back of the squad car or van or anything. Oh well. And if you think that doesn't happen and hasn't happened, the internet is right here. Feel free to do some research. So yeah, it's going to be clear. it's all going to be cleared. No day in court for the victims. Victims plural. Okay. Section 4. Using national security assets for law and order. This is actually going to be quite interesting section. A. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. I guess this is the part where they get that whole martial law business. Okay. Martial law. Okay, but I mean, I don't know if it's so much martial law or just maybe not martial law in fact, but perhaps de facto rather than literal. But yeah, same effect without the technicalities, I suppose. B. Within 90 days of the date of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non-lethal capabilities, and personnel can most effectively be utilized to prevent crime. Forget all of what I just said about de facto and all that. This right here, Section 4, this right here, might not be literal martial law, but it is literal police state. Literal police state. Literal police state. Feel free to debate me on that if you want. Section 5. Holding state and local officials accountable. The Attorney General shall pursue all necessary legal remedies and enforcement measures to enforce the rights of Americans impacted by crime and shall prioritize prosecution of any applicable violations of federal any applicable violations of federal criminal law with respect to state and local jurisdictions whose official federal criminal law from a 34-time felon. That is hilarious, feel me? Whose officials, A, willfully and unlawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or B, unlawfully, and there was a whole lot of word salad for nothing, but okay, or B, unlawfully engage in discrimination. Oh, really? So all of a sudden now discrimination is a problem. Okay, let's see. Unlawfully engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Initiatives that restrict law enforcement activities or endanger citizens. Okay. Section 6. I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Section 6. Use of Homeland Security task forces. The Attorney General and Secretary of Homeland Security shall utilize the Homeland Security Task Force, HSTF, formed in accordance with Executive Order 14159 of January 20th, 2025, protecting the American people against invasion, to coordinate and advance the objectives of this order. Okay. Section 7, General Provisions. A, nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect, 1, the authority granted by law to an executive's department or... Wait a minute, what the hell? Let me do that one more time. Section 7, general provisions. A, nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect, 1, the authority granted by law to an executive department or agency or the head thereof, or 2, the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. How interesting it is that they went and singled out that. The budget and budgetary okay. Because what I'm getting from that is that, hey, money is irrelevant. Money will not be hindering this, is what I'm getting from that. But maybe I'm wrong. All right, B. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable laws and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order, the whole thing, shall be implemented consistent with applicable laws. But there's an entire thing, I think it's, what is it? It's not habeas corpus. Isn't it that comitatus, is it? If I'm pronouncing that right? And of course I know I didn't say the whole thing. That says that the military shall not be what do I know? I'm no history buff. But hey, applicable laws. Maybe that's not applicable all of a sudden. Alright, so C, this order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities. It's officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. Okay. I get what that's trying to say here. It doesn't seem like it doesn't give any individual person. It could have been worded differently. Jesus Christ. It's like a bad translation of legalese. The Department of the Department of Justice shall provide funding for this order's publication in the Federal Registry. Donald J. Trump, the White House, April 20th, 2025. Okay, wow, that was hard. Now, let's just get into okay, you can come back to me now. You can see my oh-so handsome of this age. Right. That's hilarious. I guarantee you if Obama did any of this, much less all of this, you would have those types talking about lock and load, keep the powder dry, pass the ammunition. But all of a sudden, this they're gonna do this now. Okay. Couple of things to this. As it relates to black people, because of what I started this whole video off with, this should not have been a problem. And even though I'm going to be posting this video not only on YouTube, but also on TikTok, and it might get taken down because I'm about to go and show something here. Maybe for the TikTok version, I might have to edit this out, or actually, you know what? I'm not even going to show it, but you'll know what it is by the sound. Okay, so let us be safe about this. Does that sound familiar? Does anybody know what that sound is? Feel me? Right. Black people, I have been saying now, because we all know that I am a fucking megastar on YouTube and here on TikTok. You all been watching my shit, right? Right. I got millions of fucking views, right? All the goddamn subs and whatnot. You all have been watching my stuff and following me intently. So you all know what I've been telling black people as a whole and black men specifically to do for the longest fucking time. So 100% of the black population in this country should have one of these. And so, if the right-wing Republican argument is correct, then I see no problem here. And what is their argument? Areas of high gun ownership are low in crime, right? Right? And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get rid of the crime. Okay. So if 100% of black people are armed, 100% of black people can legally kill, we'll say legally. We don't want to be felons now, do we? Can legally carry, right? There should be no problem. Now, 100% of the black population does have guns, right? Right? Because certainly you all are not sitting here talking about, oh my God, they're going to marshal, oh my God, only for the black people. It seems to me that the reason why Trump is able to say what he says is not only because he's lying, obviously, but because you all have not subscribed. You all have not subscribed to what is obviously a fact, right? Areas of high gun ownership are low in crime. So black people, all of those supposed blacks that supposedly, oh my God, I just want to buy a loaf of fucking bread across the street, that overpriced moldy piece of shit at that fucking non-black store that came into this black neighborhood to make money off our black asses. Oh my God, I'm so super duper fucking scared. Super fucking duper scared. Oh my God, I'm in fear for my life. Well, that wouldn't be the case now, would it? Because you're armed. Because there was no fucking excuse when the Supreme Court opened the floodgates way the hell back when, like what, 1-2 years ago now? Areas of high gun ownership are low in crime, so saith the right-wing Republicans. So, it seems to me that a more cost-efficient, cost-effective way, look at me on that Doge bullshit trying to save money, yeah, because that's what Doge is trying to do. A more cost-effective way to tackle crime, this supposed crime in the black community, is to make sure that 100% of them are armed. Areas of high gun ownership, high gun ownership is low in crime. So if 100 fucking percent high gun ownership, low in crime. High, low. So the logic would stand to reason. 100% gun ownership, 0% crime. Feel me? So that right there would save so much money versus trying to do all this strengthening and unleashing business. No. Just make sure 100% of the black population is armed. That's it. Unless, of course, that whole high gun ownership is low in crime business is absolute bullshit. But I wouldn't know because... Right. Next order of business with this. none of this will happen the way it supposedly is set out here. The effect and what it claims it wants to do. Why? Because as it stands right now, if crime went to zero, what happens? They're going to aggressively take on crime. A 34-time felon is talking about aggressively taking on crime. Okay. If, in fact, all of this were to happen, crime goes to zero due to just my God, just Judge Dredd, Agent Smith levels of law enforcement. Several rather powerful industries, plural, will more or less cease to exist. And this is where it's funny as fuck that they're sitting here talking about promoting investment in whatever the fuck. Why? Simple. If there is zero crime because of all this enforcement, or crime goes down to 1%. Let's just say 1%. Kind of like germs. You can't get rid of 100%, but you can get rid of 99%. Okay? So crime goes down to 1% in this country. That's a lot of lawyers out of work. Although they're going to be working pro bono. There's a lot of lawyers going to be out of work. That is a lot of the entire legal/justice, legal. We'll go with legal system. A lot of people are going to be out of work. If there's no crime because the cops did their job and they rooted out crime and now we're all oh so safe, some utopian business. Number one, why the hell would you need to increase investment in these prisons? Because, number two, who's going to be in those prisons? And that is like the one, out of all these threads, that is the one loose thread that unravels all this shit. What is the point of all of these prisons if there's no crime? And there won't be any crime because all of what you're trying to do here, unleashing, strengthening, power up, and unleashing, let's go! Who is going to be in those prisons if there is zero crime? Because with all the training and all the money that gets thrown at it, amazing how with everything else, the black community, schooling, just anything else, oh my God, throwing more money at it isn't the solution. That doesn't do anything. But yet somehow, when it comes to law enforcement, just huge bricks, just huge guapa stacks of cash. Okay. So, seems to me the prisons are going to be out of business too. What the hell is the point of strengthening these prisons, if nobody's going to be in them because no crime? Because these cops, through all their resources and training, was able to get crime down to zero. Or even 1%. 1%. We get it down to 1%. Saying nothing of the amount of prisons that we already have, public and private, but we're now going to strengthen those? Even though we have only 1% crime. God forbid zero, but 1% crime. Really? Something doesn't seem right with that. there is one other argument for this, or argument that could be made, that would say, yeah, he's quote unquote right, if you want to say that, to implement all of this. This man has been in here for 4 months. Agent Orange has been in here for 4 months, and look how badly he has managed to fuck shit up. People are hurting. Shit will get worse. Infinitely worse. Don't know when it's gonna get better. I predict that once this man realizes that the people he's trying to help, if you know what I mean, the people that all of these are supposed to help strengthen of the military, get rid of DEI, getting rid of race and sex-based whatever the hell, and restoring it for the citizens. Once he realizes that, once this whole country realizes, as a whole, realizes that none of that's going to work, because the resources that was needed to get this country to where it is right now, number one, came almost entirely from overseas, be it materials, be it brain power. Manpower came from out of this country. Even if it came initially and then started reproducing more manpower here, point is it came out of this country. As did the resources, by and large, to make this country and the society in there get where it is today. So, once they realize that no amount of any of this stuff he's talking about and what he's trying, no amount of Project 2025 is going to change any of that for the people that they are talking about, if you know what I mean, then what? I can't imagine people are hell-bent on coming to the United States now, and on immigrating to the United States. I can't imagine that's the case anymore. All right? I'm not going to be talking about any bricks, this or anything like that. No, I can't imagine people are coming. Plus, we're isolating ourselves from the rest of the world. It is now Friday, May 9th, 2025 at 1:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In a few rather short weeks, the shelves are going to start being even more empty than they are right now. Even if everything went back to normal and Trump said, "Sight niggas, just playing bitches, undo all this stuff. This has just been one massive prank for the gram, for the TikTok, whatever." Okay, right. And he said, "Made you look," right? Even if that were to happen later today, 12 noon, some speech where he basically tells y'all, feel me? The effects of all of what he did, the shelves will get empty. They might fill up instantly after a little bit, but they will still get empty. And that's assuming he does an absolute 180 and be like, "Hey, yo, I'm just fucking with y'all. I'm just, and obviously that's not gonna happen. So, simple fact of the matter is, I mean, hell, everybody should have been on this shit but black people. You are the ones that are going to take the brunt of this. They already are getting rid of the Hispanic, Spanish, Hispanic, Latino, whatever is the correct term today. They're trying to get rid of them. You all the next in line. And then the East Asians and East Indians. And at that point, they might split into the greater whites and the lesser whites. Who knows? Native Americans, fuck, shit. Oh yeah, I forgot about y'all. Goddamn. Damn. Cause if he's sitting here doing all this with citizens and all that, Native Americans, you all better. You think you all are gonna be spared? You really think you all are gonna be spared? And I don't mean to make this sound bad or try to be, but you all are already in a pen. You all are already encircled in the reservation. Okay? So you all are probably the easiest pickings out of anybody. So do you really think you're safe once he's done getting rid of all these illegals? And then he handles the blacks. Let's just say, you all might want to be careful. that's all I want to say. It's bad enough one of y'all already got deported. The only people in this country that has the absolute right to tell anybody else, even black people, to go back where you came from, and you can't say shit about it, are the Native Americans. I don't even say Indians. I leave that to people from India. I say Native Americans. They're the only ones. Even black people can't really say it like that. I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care what kind of FBA bullshit you're claiming. You can't sit here and tell anybody else to go back to where they came from more than Native Americans can. Okay? Even though you all were the only ones that didn't choose to be here, irrelevant. They can tell you all to go back to where, hey, you didn't choose, awesome, but you can choose to leave now. Okay, you didn't choose to be here, awesome. So you must not want to be here then, right? Like, bye. Native Americans the only one that can do that. And even one of you all got deported. I don't even know if he came back yet. So, this is going to be interesting. I wonder how this strengthening and unleashing is going to work when it comes to white-collar corporate crimes. But, black people, you should have been on business from when the Supreme Court opened the floodgates on this. Okay? So, at this point, there's no excuse. And I guess in closing, the last thing for this. The one thing I will note is that although this might not be the case, because again, if Obama did any of this, there would have been a problem. So the fact that this man is able to do this tells me, However, in theory, I'd have to say now, there's a lot more regular people than there are all of military, all of law enforcement, all of anything. So if 100% of the population went and got armed, do you really think you're going to be able to do all this and not have a string of dead cops, dead agents of whatever agency just blood flowing through the streets like a goddamn global flood. Of course, you don't have to worry about that because that should have long since happened already, considering all of what's going on. That should have long since happened already. And it hasn't. So, you all have nothing to worry about, I suppose. But at least in theory, that should have happened. They should not be able to get any traction on this, should have not been able to get any traction on this, and probably not that Project 2025 business either, of which this whole thing is a part. If people were actually serious about founding fathers and this and that, and Tree of Liberty, and how much it needs watering every now and then, and all that business, right? Right? Okay. Anyway, that's it. That is all. We'll see where this goes. We'll see what happens. And much like I've been saying in all them damn YouTube videos about guns and 2A and all of that, I let it be known, hey, yo, I will lone wolf this shit, okay? But anyhow I am near you, black man, whoever you may be, you will greet me with one of these. Or the absolute, well, no, one of these. At this point, it's one of these. You need to have one of these. At this point, I don't even care if it's legal or not. You just need to have one. Constitution says you can. And it doesn't say anything about needing a permit or, oh my God, you're a felon or whatever. At this point, you need that. Okay? It'd be nice if you had a CCW as well, but at this point, with the way things are going, and the fact that despite what we were told, this country is not special, America, the USA is not fucking special, the same shit that caused Rome to go, caused England to go, or Britain, whatever, Babylon, Egypt, and all that, is the same thing that can happen here. The same protests that protested and whatever that affects other countries can affect this one too, despite the two natural barriers it has. Saying nothing of the fact that in today's day and age, probably at least 50, if not 75% of it's going to be fought online anyway, not with attrition warfare. But black people, you all should have been long since ready. Okay, you should have been long since ready by now. So, anyhow, you are black and not armed. I don't care what happens to you. And that's it. Later.